Hello and welcome. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. Procyon, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network and everything we do. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump and UConn legendary men's basketball player Jake Voskuhl. They specialize in tax plans for businesses large or small. They will save you money or get you a big fat return on your taxes. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm is located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you've suffered any type of personal injury, slip and fall, car accident, your mother-in-law ran you over with her car, your wife got angry one night and decided to stab you, the Finch Firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all across the state of Connecticut. He will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. You just have to remember, in a pinch, call Finch or go to his website, thefinchfirm.com. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. He trains boys and girls of all ages, all sports. He has a boot camp program 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape, you go to Andre. He has an athletic development program where he trains boys and girls in the sport of their choice from the ground up, helps them reach their full potential, be the best they can possibly be. Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all different types of sports. To work with the best, he has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility in Hartford, Connecticut. Go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com. Right. Here we are for Broker Than You. I'm your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me, as always, the king of real estate in Erie, Pennsylvania, Laban Marsh.
Hola.
Who has the mustache going again?
Yeah, we
and the
trimmed the foo a little bit, so we went to straight stash. Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. We're gonna have to get clean shaven likely by Valentine's Day if I want my wife to kiss me. So we'll see.
Where's
Tyler?
Fresh?
You're muted. You kept Fresh muted.
I didn't mute Fresh. He muted himself.
I'm about to say she don't like the beard. Normally they love the beard.
She don't. My wife likes a goatee. She likes a goatee, but in my goatee, like so much of my neck and chin is gray.
It's gray. You can't have that.
So, can't have it. It's wisdom to some, but yeah.
Can't have that. And we have entrepreneur extraordinaire, Nedvonne Young, Fresh himself, owner of FreshFold Laundry Co. in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a high-end laundry service that wash, dries, and folds your clothes for you, all without you having to enter the building itself. Fresh, it's great to see you.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys, man. Happy Wednesday. Hump day.
Yeah, the sun is shining here, though it is still, let me just see. I got to double check. I walked the dogs this morning. But
listen, it's got to be in the 20s.
11, baby.
11.
Yeah.
Yes.
Feels like -2. Yesterday, that wind was wicked, though.
It was rough.
The rest of the country, and I feel for it, man, power was out all over the place. Like, that is something to panic about. I don't mind the cold weather, but if I have cold weather and
when the power goes out, scary.
That's a little bit scary for sure. And I just don't understand. Like, it's been the last couple winters where I don't remember it getting this cold. And I'm sure it did, 20, 30, 40 years ago. But, man, it is super cold. So, yeah, we're out there pushing snow. We'll get 4 to 6 inches, and it's like, just another day in paradise.
Well, how the side hustle going with the with your partner, your buddy, young kid with the
Good. You know what's great? He reaches out to me every couple of weeks. Like, he actually sent me a text the other day. He's like, "Hey, you have a company plowing your office driveway." And I'm like, "No, it's my brother does." He's like, "Man, I've seen a company truck there." I'm like, "Well, they're not getting paid, so I don't know how long they'll keep doing it for." But he's doing great. He's got a Facebook page that he's out there, and we've had so much snow. He's done really well. So I have to catch back up with him because he's one of my pole vaulters, and we start indoor competition has already begun, even though the weather's not real.
That's right.
Yeah, so I hope to get him off of the plow truck and into the gym here soon. But he's doing great. I'm glad it's worked out for him. He's, anybody that's a young, hard worker. He handles his own invoices, all of that stuff. So I'm super proud of him. Happy to be able to, provide a resource that is going to be utilized and leveraged. So I just hop in my Bobcat if I need to move some snow. That thing's heated and it's nice. I go around in my parents' neighborhood where my daughter plays and, clearing driveways where they come home. And my mom sent me a text the other night. It's like, there's something good about doing good for others that, like, just do more of it, man. And again, you're doing things for others, but it's amazing how good it makes you feel to not need a thank you or anything else, just sincerely, you know what I mean? Like a servant leader. And I think it's nice to be able to do that. And I remember in a coaching group, because like coaching, like track coach, I volunteer. And I had a guy in the business coaching group say, did you start coaching and volunteering after you became more successful? And it's like, no, I think if you're not willing to, give up time when it's vital, you'll never give up your own time. So I think, giving back makes you feel a lot better, especially on these cold days when other people struggle to get some of the things done. So be good to your neighbors.
So, Laban, one of the questions that came in had to do with interest rates. Do you see interest rates stabilizing? And overall, what do you see for 2026? What does it mean for 2026?
Yeah,
Is it going consistent throughout, or do you see it changing?
Well, I know for me personally, I had mentioned before, I don't know why that ping is so loud here. But I had a property, and they keep
because you're important. That's why.
Yeah. Well, but I had a property that had been refinanced 10 years ago, and so it adjusts every 5 years fresh. I still laugh when I think about the variable rate. But it just January, I just got the statement, and I had been at 3.86 for 5 years. It just went to 6.7%. Now, that's not as bad as what I thought it could be. I thought it'd be in the sevens. But that is where that rate adjusted to 6.7. And so you can see, I mean, between 3.86 and 6.7, it's a difference in monthly payment. Now, I actually close on that property tomorrow, knock on wood. And so that'll be good to finish out the sales of, my portfolio. And so we've decided what we're going to keep. But I think that's where you start to look at 2026. I think I trust there's going to be more inventory coming to market. And just like, the more saturated the market becomes with listings, it's not that prices go down, because I don't think prices are going to go down, but you have to take into account the prices have become inflated in such a way. And I tell people all the time, just because you listed your house at 500 doesn't mean it was ever worth that. Right. It might have only been worth 420 and you listed it at 5 and it finally sold at that 425 or something. So I think, and I've already seen with some of the things I have sold, even myself, sellers aren't necessarily getting what they're asking. And so I go back to, they've been asking a substantial increase over the last few years. And so I do think 2026 is going to see some of those prices stabilize to where a buyer who's been looking for the last 4 or 5 years is going to see a good opportunity. In fact, I showed one the other day. It was in East Mill Creek for under 300,000. I think it was 289. And it's like, man, that's a good purchase. And again, a few years ago, you would have thought maybe that's crazy, but now to be in Mill Creek under 300,000 is actually a pretty good deal. So buyers are going to start to see that. Anybody that's been in the market the last few years, I think they're going to start to see quote unquote better deals, because sellers who are motivated and they need to sell are going to do that. They're going to have to adjust the price if they don't get offers early on. In my opinion.
Fresh, Robert brought this up last week. I didn't get to it. And he kind of wanted to know, creative financing strategies seem to be returning to the mainstream with investors, with businesses, because people can't finance things alone, and sometimes they need partners and they need creative ways to raise that money. Do you see this as being true?
Well, I would say kind of yes and no. Creative financing never left. I don't think it never left. Like, people always are doing creative. See, the creative financing, when people do creative kind of deals, that's not really, a lot of those things are not recorded, right?
Okay.
So the
it's true.
I was confused.
Your regular standard deals, like most of the deals that like that Laban's company will do, like Marsh, like the real estate deals, they have an agent, like everything's kind of going through recorded. But when you do creative stuff.
Can I interject real quick? Because some people don't know what you mean by recorded. That means recorded at the courthouse.
Turn your thing on vibrate. It doesn't need to beep.
I don't know how to do it. It's.
Oh, okay.
I'm that incompetent. And I think if I turn my volume down, but recorded when you record it at the courthouse, Fresh, that means when a buyer goes to search title, that note, that lien comes up against the property. And so what you're talking about is people will take a loan person to person on paper, but never record it at the courthouse so that it can be found on a title search. Continue. Thank you.
Well, yeah. So they won't record. What happens is, well, yes and no to that too. So people will, when you do creative financing deals, a lot of times what will happen is they kind of create their own promissory note, right? But then they will, once you kind of you exchange the funds, the down payment, you may see a change, not in necessarily title, but someone else will kind of be on the, like they'll adjust the deed or
quick.
It's like certain things, like so. Like if someone owns it free and clear, right? They don't have a mortgage at the bank, so they own the property, have the deed. A lot of times they'll file they'll start with like a quick claim deed, and then they will file, once it's the down payment, they will file a deed, but they'll have a promissory. It's a bunch of different creative ways. This is one way. They'll have a promissory note.
All right, good. I want an example.
He's recorded, but then it doesn't. I forgot what's the proper term. It doesn't trigger like what your standard transaction with what
yes.
transfer tax. Right.
Yeah, it doesn't like trigger all of that. It doesn't trigger like basically it doesn't trigger the taxes and stuff and whatnot. Because what you want to do, because what's huge, like Laban's talked about this last couple of shows with capital gains, you don't want to pay them capital gains. And this is one of the strategies I use with a lot of when we do deals is if someone is selling a business or they're selling property, some kind of asset, and it's like, okay, let's just say this asset is $1 million, right? So if that asset is $1 million, they would have to, and we just do it a normal exchange, they're going to have to pay the taxes on $1 million. But I could say, hey, I'll pay you the $1 million. I'll pay you $1 million. I'll do it with time. You be the bank, you finance, you be the bank. I'll give you a down payment and I'll pay you as if, so say for instance, if it's a multifamily property, and let's just say this property was doing, I don't know, $5,000 a month or something. Be like, all right, we'll give you $6,000 a month, right? We'll pay you more than what you were getting a month, but we'll pay this over time. So that gives us time to have control of the property, to go ahead and do any kind of to fix any obsolescence of any sort. That's like if anything is like if it needs to be upgraded, damaged, or or what have you. we fix that. It gives us time to do that, and then start to increase the cash flow of the property, which is already, if they're truly getting what they were getting, and we increase it, we're just paying them what they would get. And let's just say if we increase the value of this of the monthly income to the property from, let's say it was 6,000, we increase it to 8. Now it's paying for itself, and we're in position because the numbers is higher when we actually do want to go to a bank to refinance. Now when we use the because you have a bunch of different valuation methods. When we use the method, I forgot the income approach. When we use the income approach, it's shown, okay, we have more income, and they'll project it from the income. That will determine how they will like allow us to actually get recorded financing. But that's one way to go back to answer your question from the beginning is I don't think it ever left, right? It never left. Yes, you're going to see more people. You're going to hear about it more because people talk about it more. It's in the media more about certain types of creative finance. And once you share the information, so is there. Will it be an uptick? Maybe you'll hear about it more. But it's happening. It's happening right now. It happens all the time.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
So
well, and I think
I didn't get the memo.
Well, but I think it's interesting. He's not wrong. They've been doing it all along. I think as it becomes more challenging to get loans, like there's a time when banks would tighten up and not, lend as much or as frequently, whatever it may be, to where you went to those routes. But the only thing is when you are the seller, right, just be very cautious because we had a local friend years ago sold a ski resort to a guy out of Ohio. And there was not much negative obsolescence. It was in great shape, operating really well. Well, the guy from Ohio came in and didn't have the funds to buy it. So the owners carried part of the note to the tune of a couple $1 million, like $6-7 million. And I knew the children. And then a short time later, and I think in part the market had shifted, but this guy from Ohio went under. The whole place went under, really. And I mean, now you had this really nice family that sold the property to them that was carrying the note, right, for creative financing, and then the buyer was wiped out. So this family will never see that $4, $5, $6 million that they carried on this guy because he's out, bankruptcy. So you do have to be careful. I sometimes think there's more risk for a seller on that than there is on the buyer, because when you think about most buyers that are using hard money or creative financing don't have it themselves, right? I mean, again, most people that have the money don't want to use it either. The beautiful thing of real estate is that it's leverageable. So I've said, I don't necessarily care what interest rates are if my property is still cash flow. But that doesn't mean you can be on hard money or creative financing for a 15-year note. I think to Fresh's point, a lot of times it's get your foot in the door, build yourself some equity, and now you go refinance it out of their name and run it on your own. So there's creative financing has always been around. There's no doubt about it. And so, again, I just think that the banks, hopefully, and it still baffles me because I have never missed a payment in 20 plus years, and yet they still treat me like I'm going to stop paying tomorrow. It really is. But that's where we've talked about how many times, Fresh, you have to know your numbers, right? You got to know your numbers. When you go to a bank, it's most hard money lenders and creative financing people still want to make sure you know your numbers. They're not just going to carry the note. They can have an idea of how it should cash flow, things like that. So when they hand it over to you and now you're running it, they're going to still have questions, just like a bank might. It's just not going through the traditional channels like Fresh was talking about.
So Fresh, I wanted to ask you because I actually did a modicum of research and read an article that was interesting.
I'm going to have to look up a modicum.
Yeah, I mean, they were calling this the efficiency era, basically saying leaner businesses are thinning out, leaning their teams, They're relying more on automation and outsourcing, and businesses are prioritizing profitability over growth. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that, if you think that's actually what's taking place.
That's pretty good analysis.
Yeah, that's
I didn't. I was reading. I didn't know what it meant. So
yeah.
You gotta start taking credit for some of that, bro.
Well, Fresh has encouraged me to be more prepared, so I did some light reading.
Yeah.
So
No,
I would say
good.
efficiency era. I think
I didn't understand it. So.
I think what I think there is that there is some traction to that. I think that does have legs because of a number of things, right? You have influences on what people do with their money, or how people move, how do you invest. Like there's a reason why, people back in the day ate a lot of like meat and potatoes, right? And why you have now people are more health conscious. People are more health conscious and they do certain things. Like Laban still loves milk, right?
100%.
Right? He still loves milk, right? And some people will still, but I mean, the reality of it is we're not cows, so we don't really need to drink milk. We just don't.
We do. We
right?
do, bro.
So, but we conditioned.
Cows don't drink milk, do they?
Yeah, baby calves. That's what the milk is for.
Oh, okay. All right, that's right. Okay,
so the milk is something that is very high in fat to
good for you.
To turn like a 35-pound calf to a 500-600 pound beast, right? So that's what it's there for. But we have decided that this is what we've been conditioned that we do certain things. So to bring it back, to tie that into with money. So now it's a lot of new variables. When you have so much information, it becomes super confusing on what to do. So you're like
overwhelming.
When you get overwhelmed, your reaction is to, I need to pull back. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And at least you're conditioned to follow old hat. This is what I've done. This is what my parents, my grandparents done. But then you have an age of people, especially a new age of people that are running into amounts of money that they haven't seen or no one's seen before. Because you have people that can make money just doing what we're doing, talking on, having a podcast, playing video games. And now they're like, I don't really know what to do with this newfound wealth, or I don't know what to do with the little bit of money I have. So yes, you got people who are tightening up. And then what's happening at least here in the US, what's happening doesn't encourage you to be more like, let me spend more. Like, no, you're like, I don't know who's saying what. I don't know what to do. I just know, let me just hold on to as much of it as I can. So I think it's like too much information, and I won't say too much knowledge. It's too much it's a lot of information, but not enough knowledge being taken into account. Like knowing a thing, like really taking some time to pick a thing and know the thing, right? All right, if I want to invest in the stock market, let me get familiar with the stock market and what's the different ways. How can I get in without having a ton of money? Okay, I could do options. I could do day trading. Like you need to find those things out. Pick a lane and find and like really get into it and figure out this is what I do. If you want to get in from a real estate investor's perspective, what's the different ways I can get in? How can I go that way? There's other things like, do I want to be an influencer? So people have so much thrown at them, and it's like, okay, well, what do I do? So your natural thing is pull back and move slower, and hopefully, and most people are not going to do the research because we got too much information coming at us. What they're going to do is like, I'm going to hold off, and I'm going to just hopefully something, by osmosis comes to me to do something with this money, or to do something, then I'll do it that way. Unfortunately, that's just kind of what's happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
in my opinion.
And I think what you need to do, and you're asking about, people are becoming more efficient, right? I think you've been in through a big transitional time since the pandemic, to where I think what the pandemic pointed out is what people will spend their money on, right? I mean, and early on, if you remember, they were tipping all these restaurants real high, and boy, did that tipping stick around. But it's interesting how, as the markets have shifted, how people learn to adapt. And so to that comment, Fresh, I think people that are sitting on, not sure what to do, narrow your focus, right? Start to really narrow it down. And that's how you can become more efficient. I think looking at our business, we had an executive meeting on Monday with the family, just looking at it, going through 2025's numbers, which were down from 2024, which was depressing. And yet it's like, okay, it's not our fault. Like, there's just not inventory. And I know, we've been riding it out, trying to be as lean as possible. I think the biggest thing is, if you were able to stay in business and you leaned and trimmed down, maintain that trim as you grow again, because it is so easy for any business owner. I mean, when we opened, I tell people we didn't even have to tighten the belt during the recession of 08, because we had just started. I couldn't even afford a belt, basically, right? Like, so now we've been in business 18 years. You've been through some really good years, and the last few have been challenging. So we've trimmed a lot of the fat that we were able to have when we were more profitable. And so I think going back to talking about the efficiency of business and the future is, you need to stay efficient so that you can become more profitable. And like the Bible says, to store up for the winter, because I'm thankful that as we were profitable over the last 18 years, we reinvested in the market we were in with real estate. I said
you always did,
but there were two clients that couldn't sell their homes 12 years ago, and we were in a position to buy them. And so we leveraged our expertise and our knowledge, and then leveraged our property management division. So I think as the market ebbs and flows, and I'd like to think it's going to be a time to buy here real soon again, you have to really be smart about it, because the market is so different than it was 20 years ago. And again, the hardest part is realizing that these prices are actually fair, because everybody thinks they're skyrocketing. But I still go to a lot of my sellers, and the home I was telling you about in East Mill Creek that was listed for $289, you could not build it for under $400,000. So there is something to be said about that value and cost, evaluation. Now, there's some parts of the country, and I think we've talked about this before, where if you build a home, the cost of materials and everything else, it might be worth less than something, on the resale. So then people are like, well, then do I just build new? So I think those are the things that, to Fresh's point, the different regions and areas have different demands and challenges. Like the last time we met with Newsy, I couldn't believe Connecticut is still basically a seller's market. And I know Connecticut's different. You have that fallout from New York City. So I think it's an interesting time, and I don't disagree with that philosophical, I don't remember the word you used, started with an M. Because, I think business owners that have been in business are going to try to stay as efficient as possible. And what can be automated, they're definitely going to automate instead of hire new.
Yeah.
They're just going to keep it trim as possible.
Now, Laban, didn't you say that your profitability, it was down from 2024, but I thought you said it was up from 23?
Yeah. 23 was probably the worst year. Then 24 was better than the worst year, but then 25 was not as good as 24, but better than 23. So, and again, it's just the numbers are what they are. But when I look at them, I understand why they are. What can I do to change it? That is the question. You know what I mean? Because we've talked about it before. Interest rates dropping doesn't change the inventory or supply. It has to drop enough for the people. Like my note is at 3.125 on my personal residence. I don't care how much money I bring in. I am not paying down that loan any earlier than what I need to. At 3.125, I would rather pay, and that you go down over into Dave Ramsey's debt snowball, right? When Dave Ramsey talks about the debt snowball, it's getting rid of your debt, paying off the lowest amount first so you can get momentum and start paying these things off. So once you pay off your first debt, you take what you were paying on that and add it to the second one, so that now you compound your pay down of the debt service. And then once that's paid down, you take that sum amount, put it towards the next, and you just start paying down your debt. The other way to look at that is paying down your highest interest rates. Credit cards.
Who's Dave Ramsey?
Bro.
Sorry. I don't know.
It's all
Should
right.
I know this?
Google me, as Kurt
Okay.
Signetti would say.
All right.
Yeah,
we'll do
Dave
that.
Ramsey is a very conservative financial advisor. I like to balance Robert Kiyosaki with Dave Ramsey. Kiyosaki's more of an investor. Ramsey's not wrong. He's just low. He's catering to the least common denominator, if you will.
So you talked about this.
Ramsey's very conservative from a standpoint,
Oh,
just from a
Debt
investment
completely.
standpoint. He's more like,
Yeah.
save all your money, pay down on your debt, then you have money to do certain things, and opposed to
Right.
like use your money
Leverage.
to make it work for
money
you.
for yourself, making money
Yes.
work for you.
Right.
He's like,
Um,
only do that after you've done all of these other.
You get all the other stuff done.
Once you
Okay.
become a trillionaire, then do it. Yeah.
So Laban, I mean, as a real estate broker, investor, whatever, how would you say that you are able to cut operating expenses and without hurting your services? Because I mean, you're a person to person guy. You meet with people. How do you cut down those expenses without losing that human piece, the service piece that I think makes Marsh & Marsh stand out from the rest?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of that level of service doesn't require any level of income or expense, right? That is your effort, if you will. And that is one of the biggest challenge of being in real estate that my daughter Mackenzie is figuring out. Like, she went out with me to show some homes the other night. And it's like, oh yeah, I've been showing them homes since September. And if or when they get under contract, 60 days later, I should get a paycheck. So, like, in our business, you have to be able to delay gratification and work the system. You know what I mean? Work the process. You have to be out there prospecting, and you have to be showing homes, and you have to be writing offers, and you have to be closing deals. And that ebb and flow is what's vital to our industry and to be able to sustain what we're doing. As far as cutting costs, like I said, 18 years ago, our business model looked the model didn't look different, but the finances looked very different. And so we got to a point where we had company vehicles that are still covered. We as brokers Levi and I would have bonuses that we cut out a few years back and just haven't re-implemented because it makes us more profitable. So I think what you do is that, and that's where I go back to anybody who's had to trim down. I encourage you, as you grow and build that revenue again, try to stay trim. And I think that's what I have learned is that, okay, yeah, bonuses were great, but I need to be personally in a financial position to where my business doesn't need, like, I don't need bonuses for the lifestyle because the business is more important and I need to keep that running.
Overall
and then
profitability.
It's a lot like investing in real estate. I hadn't bought for a while just because it didn't make sense for the portfolio. So I think understanding the market to a certain extent, knowing your numbers for sure, and then knowing what you can cut out. I mean, it was 10 years ago, we cut $60,000 out of our advertising budget from the newspaper. There's still people that advertise in the newspaper. I don't know who gets it anymore. But I mean, so we always look at our not only income, right? There's two variables, and we talk about that all the time in business. It's like there are two ways to balance a budget. You can increase revenue or decrease expenses.
Exactly.
That's it. So figuring out how to do that, prioritizing your expenses. You know, we do that. We support a lot of local high school sports. And so when people approach us and say, hey, would you mind? And a lot of times it's like, hey, listen, we've already made our commitment and marketing dollars for the year. So let us know if Johnny's playing next year, we can look at adding it to the budget. But standing on those principles and not just being willing to say, well, we've always supported them, so let's support them. It's like, well, if it doesn't make sense for us financially, we're going to have to tell them the two letters that are the most difficult to handle in the world. No.
So Laban, you can claim me as a dependent if you want.
No,
just so you
I will
know.
not be doing that. I don't want to talk about any potential.
All
No,
right.
no.
I am going to put a video on for our sponsors quickly. Down south, we have the Trench Mob, run by Julius Williams in Decatur, Georgia. He trains offensive and defensive linemen. They compete in 5v5 tournaments and college showcase camps across the country. Julius has sent kids to schools like Florida, Florida State, Miami, Tennessee, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. We have the Trench Mob podcast every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. If you want your kid to go to college and play Division I football and be trained by the best, you go to the Trench Mob. To contact them, go to www.battleofthetrenches.com. Nedvonne Young owns FreshFold Laundry Company down in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It's a high-end laundry service. They wash, dry, and fold your clothes for you. They have a pickup and drop-off delivery service, so you can have your laundry done in the comfort of your own home without ever leaving. You put your laundry in a clear plastic bag, put it out, they pick it up, everything is done, wash, dried, and fold, and it is dropped off to you within 48 hours. They offer an expedited service as well. They have an online subscription model. You can also book online to schedule your pickups. They have deals for college students. So if you're in college. All right. Fresh, your website again is myfreshfold-laundry.com. My-freshfoldlaundry.com. You're on mute. Sorry.
So am I. I'm like, you're muted. I'm muted.
Sorry. I forgot to record the new video. I have to record a
Fresh,
new one.
give it to us again. Give it to us.
Julius has a new website.
It's my-freshfold. It's not even
My-freshfold.
Just period. My-freshfold.com and you're good to go.
Gotcha.
Did we ever talk about that story about the domain name that I own that a local company started? No. A local company started a company named after the domain I had, and they didn't find much value in the domain name. So I owned a domain name that you would typically go to based on their business name. But because they didn't want to offer me anything really for it, they had to create a business name that is now, it's not .com, it's .biz. So what I did is I went to the domain name and directed it to my Marsh brokerage. It's pretty wild. So if you type in looking for their, it goes to ours. And then I created that, or I started when Kenzie was born, kenzieliz.com, which I think goes to my profile, and I'll switch it to hers once she gets licensed. But yeah, I'm not saying I wasn't messing with the company at all, but when they reached out and said, hey, we're going to open a company named this and you own the .com, I'm like, okay, hey, I'll take an offer. He offered me like $100.
No free lunches. Yeah.
$100 is what he offered.
Yeah. $100. Yeah. That's phenomenal. Fresh, you had a couple things that you brought up earlier that I thought were great topics to discuss. If you would like to get into them.
Sure. I would say, we talked about a couple things, but touching on, give me 1 second. Let me pull up what we were looking at.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to throw you a curveball.
Yeah.
You can usually hit it out of the park, Fresh.
Hey, still
no,
time.
He was
fouling him off. You foul it off until
hey, getting a piece though, staying alive.
Staying alive, right? So I would say one of the things that kind of touching on something you was talking about when you were talking about before the break, Labe. I think when you were talking about people kind of staying trim and people having to cut, kind of trim the fat, if you will.
Yeah.
I think that brings up that something that a lot of people may not think about. I think in this day and age, you have to really this has to be a part of the evolution of your business. So you need to be able to pivot. So that's one of those things. And I think you also need to be able to diversify. So you need diversification in some of the things you do. So when Laban mentioned like you can only balance the budget in two ways, one being like, when he was like, you increase revenue. Well, one way you can increase revenue is adding different revenue streams.
Exactly.
So I think one of those things people, when you traditionally like just say like, all right, like they sell houses and they help people buy houses for the most part. But then he's like, oh, they have property management, right? That was probably something that they didn't have initially. But then you always have to see what other services as real estate professionals can we offer. You might need to start a education program. You might need to start training agents for licensing or whatever. You might need to do other things to add streams when things get tight, because it's just that's just kind of the way of the world now. So
and commercial real estate too.
Yeah, yes. I mean, well, you could do commercial, even though the life cycle commercial is just a lot. He said what he said 6 months, right? 6 months that he could be working, like he started working with somebody in September. It is now we almost in February, and then he was like, and then after they close 60 days after that, he's looking at. I mean, it's commercial deals. You could be working a deal for a couple years.
Oh yeah,
like 18
months. It depends on the due diligence period.
Yeah,
and I think that's
like what Brazil's going
with properties. It has to be like certain people. When it comes to commercial thing, it's a right fit, because a lot of times
commercial,
you have it's tied to a business usually or some kind of company, and the company needs to be performing well. If that's worked into their budget, like things need to happen. But at the same time, like when he talked about how that ski resort that it went under, that's a commercial transaction. So when it goes bad, it goes real bad. When someone loses a house, you just kind of get foreclosed on. When a business goes down, it's a huge ripple effect. Yeah. It impacts the business owner. It impacts employees, the people that business served. So let's just say if that was the only ski resort for 100 miles, now people got to find, people like, we have nowhere else to go, right? So now they don't have anywhere to go that was in driving distance that was reasonable. So now that has a huge impact. Now you got all these other costs. It employed people. It's a whole different ballgame. So, but take it back to what I was talking about before, you have to be able to pivot, and you need to be actively looking for ways to diversify income streams when you are like even in the process of trimming, because some things change and may never come back, right? Especially with technology, AI, some stuff is just never. You're going to be like, all right, well, we normally do this. It's just never going to come back. Like how they stopped doing newspaper, right? More ads, more digital stuff now. You have to have a social media presence. Like you need to shift it over there. So, but here's the thing, like you can do something to where you get good at doing it, then you can offer the service for other people and people pay you for it.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we've been able to do extremely well at, say, social media marketing. Somebody else is going to need it too. So now you can spin off and have a social media marketing agency that focuses on real estate agents. You don't have to necessarily do it in your backyard. You can be like, hey, I know these towns over here where these markets, you could come in and do the same thing. You're just showing them or teaching them how to do, or doing it for them for the ways that you had success in your own market. So you have to be able to look at these things and go, all right, this is a way that I can pivot. This is a way that I can create a stream of income. Yeah. And then that still feeds, but also still keep the main thing the main thing. It still can feed the business because it's still a skill and things that could be added to the current business, or that is a part of the current business. But now you're using it to help other people get out of the hole where they were, and now you get income from it. So you have to be able to do things like that in all aspects, whether that's real estate, whether that's teaching people how to do options, anything. You could pivot from skills and knowledge that you have, and you can monetize it and help people, and they will pay you because they don't know how to do it or want to take the time to do what you've already learned or what other skills you already have.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, Fresh, you specifically brought up property management, which we started that a few years after we opened the brokerage. But I now have, and we brought on Marcus before. Marcus Johnson's my property manager, and we were doing between 600,000 and 700,000 in total revenue a year in property management, to where the last 2 years we have been over $1 million. And with property management, it's actually residual, like insurance would be, unlike sales, where these tenants are there, the owners trust us to manage it, to where we're now, I think it was 111,000 a month in revenue into property management. Now there's expenses, there's repairs that we cover and things like that. But to know that our sales division that was once at 3 million in total revenue, and then property management was around 6 or 7, to know that sales are now at like 1.9 and property management's at 1.1. Yeah, what's growing? I mean, you don't have to be a rocket science to just pay attention to the numbers. Now, I have to be careful because I don't want Marcus to get overwhelmed. Yes, we can take on more property management. Like, we just picked up another HOA of, I think, 18 homes in the last month, which that's, our controller now has to run these new 18 clients through the process and get them set up. Once you get them set up, it flows. But Fresh, you're exactly right. I think the 22, I brought it up before, the 22 immutable laws of marketing really get into talking about your core business. And for whatever reason, I always think of Wendy's that always had the chocolate Frosty. If you ordered a Frosty, you got a chocolate Frosty. And a couple years ago, they decided to throw out like vanilla and these seasonal things. And it's like, hey, be careful as a company when you start veering away from your core business and trying to get too cute. You got to be able to pivot and be creative and relevant, but at the same time, understand the core business, like dance with the one who brought you, right? Focus on that core business and then see, as the market changes, what ancillary opportunities might be available for you to tap into. Because for me, dude, Kenzie can drive, but as soon as Drew can drive, truck, trailer, and I already have the mowing equipment, dude. Like, you have a landscaping business right here. And that's like Nick, who's plowing for me. It's like, bro, you get a truck and somebody that's willing to work, you can make money.
Yep. You got to utilize these skills you have. So yeah, I think you just
Fresh. What would you say? Like, you were talking about investing. One area, one sector that you could pinpoint investors may be sleeping on or not noticing that they could be taking advantage of. You mentioned digital marketing, which I think is huge because, even with podcasting, people do not understand how it works, the value of it, how targeted it is, how many people you can hit off of it, something like that. But what is one area that you see people kind of missing out on?
I mean, I think people are missing out on AI. Like, even though it's here and people hear about it, you have to embrace it and become very familiar with it and figure out how you can use it to your advantage. So you can invest in your AI knowledge or invest in AI resources that you can do stuff. Like, even say things like with this, like one of the things that we have, one of the tools we have with our, my wife and I, with the AI agency we have right now. I mean, we just use a tool that other people use as well, but a simple tool like Opus Clips, right? So Opus Clip, you familiar with Opus Clip?
Yep. Yeah, so that's how I make our reel.
Okay, so what Opus Clip is just basically, it takes your long form video and it actually has an AI component. You can tell it what to do. Like,
tell it exactly what to look for.
Explain that to me further.
Have you ever seen our reels, Laban?
Oh yeah, I love them. I didn't realize that you didn't clip those though.
So I can say in
tell
a video
Opus what to look for.
Right. That right. It could determine like host. You could say something like host, red hat, blue shirt, right, or whatever, right. This is say if we just went like that. Like I say, make sure that give me a few clips with the host, reacting first. So you have the host react, show the host's reaction to the response of the question, then then show the person asking the question, then put the answer. Like you could kind of do that, and then it'll go, and then so it's sandwich like, oh wow, I never knew that, right? That's how it starts, and then it goes,
oh yeah. Then it takes you through. I got you.
Then it goes, well, then you ask, then the question could be like what's going on with interest rates, right? And then you start talking about the interest rates, and you're like, oh, then it kind of goes through it. And that's how you'll see like it sandwiches the whole, and then it kind of goes, why did he react that way? Then it goes to the question. So you could tell it to do that you could tell it what you wanted to do.
Wow.
You could just tell it to focus on the panel, right? Like cut the host out, and just focus on the questions, focus on the answers, right? Or you could say couple up answers. And it's a bunch of things you can have it do. It does it for you, and it does it for you in like 2 minutes, and then it's like spits out like 10 videos. Boom. It'll take an hour video like this, and it might take more than 10 minutes. Like that hour video. It might take about 15,
so does it? Do you think does it run through the script? Like, do you know what I mean? It can create just audio, create the audio video, and it can strip out the whole everything we say, words. I see. I've noticed that when you post them, I can go look at the podcast, and it'll rate the whole. It shows the whole script, unless I'm chewing on marbles and I slur.
Yeah, it'll show the captions of what's going on in the clip. Yes,
you can say caption the words and all of that. Yeah, you could do that. So I think again, back to it. AI is what it is. AI is where everybody should figure out to get very comfortable and familiar with AI and determine how you can incorporate it into your business, how you could use it to your advantage, right? And once you do that, just think about it. You're not the only person that does your business. Once you know how to do it for yourself, it's like, okay, let's just say, all right, I'm a podcaster, right? So Cully, you're a podcaster. Okay, well, I know how to use AI and do these different things. How many other podcasters don't know how to do it? That might have, more viewers. It might be monetized. Okay, well, here's what I want in exchange to do that. I could do this for you. Here's what I want in exchange for you. Because you hear people talking, man, I spent hours making clips and editing and hours. I spent the whole day doing that. When you can just put it in here and it does it for you in a fraction of the time, and you can start doing that for people.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that's a great thing to throw into your time blocking. Like for time management, I mean, it's something that, because I'm thinking about here, we do this on Wednesdays. It's like you do a Thursday throwback with one of these 2 clips about yesterday's, show. I need to be posting something like that on the regular.
Well, I always share them with you so you can post them.
And I do. And that's what I'm saying. I share them, but like it needs to be something where I share them when you create them. Like not that I need to initiate it, but it's like I need to get consistent.
No, I'll tag you initially.
Yeah.
As long as I put you as a collaborator, then you can accept the collaboration.
Well, I think, correct me, I think Laban is more talking about just him doing the action of sharing. Like he wants to be, he has to get more consistent with being actively doing it. It's not like
we do this. Yeah, we do it on Wednesdays, but I need to make a point within my own space to share. I mean, again, I share those and you tag everybody, you know what I mean? So it's like I just need to make sure I do that on the regular. It just goes to a component as a business owner to time block, because it's easy to plant the seed, do it for a week or 2, and then we get busy and then it's like, well, what happened? Oh, I haven't done it in a while.
Or
it's that repetition.
Listen to the or right. You already have some millionaires in training, your kids. So Kizzy, right? Right? That's your oldest?
Oh yeah. She can burn right through this. Yeah.
You're like, hey. So no, this is what you do. Like you can have her just one thing. I need you to post these clips about this on Thursdays. That's it.
Yeah.
And she can schedule. She can do it on Wednesday. Once you get them, she can schedule them. She can pre-schedule it for to do it. That's all you got to do. So now you can do them. Doesn't say you don't have to do it, but this is how you get them involved doing these things.
Absolutely. I am going to play one more video from our sponsor, and then I have a rapid fire round for you guys.
Ooh. Yes.
Okay.
Finally, we have James Whitfield of Luther James Insurance. For the last 3 years, James has dedicated himself to the art of financial services. He specializes in life insurance and insurance policies. He will save you money, make you a boatload of money, and do so tax-free. He also specializes in retirement planning because we know the stress that goes into thinking about retirement. How much am I going to need? For how long? Do we have enough? Because fear of the unknown is real. To contact James, go to www.lutherjamesinsurance.com.
Hey, listen,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I have to interject. So as we're on here, our group of coaches, we're supposed to have a practice tonight at Edinburgh's Dome, which it's freezing cold, so they already canceled it. So they're just saying, hey, I wish there was an entrepreneur who could build us a facility. And my buddy,
the indoor facility.
Listen, my buddy's like, I've got an AI addiction. And so this is what he posted: the Marsh Megaplex. That's my boy Lee Whittlesley. He's a jump coach, but he did that while I'm sitting here on the show. He's sending this out, and it's like, bro, like, oh yeah. So I'm gonna get into AI. Fresh, you're still muted, but I'm gonna get into AI and learn how to do this stuff, or hire people like Lee or my daughter Mackenzie to do it, because it's cool stuff. And again, it helps you, whether it's to dream, like a bulletin board type material, the vision board, goal setting. But man, Fresh, I'm not amazed because you're an amazing individual, but like, I think you're right. The more you learn and then can show people how to do it, I'm all ears, and I need to learn a lot more, or hire, more people that know what they're doing, because I feel like I am lost. But it is fun delving into it. And again, I think it's not going away. It's like the internet in the 90s. Like, this is not going away.
You hit on my point with it. I was going to say, like, we have these things throughout history. I don't know if I mentioned it last week. You had the internet. You had the, from the .com to Bitcoin to, to crypto. Like, you have to understand, like, your opportunities to get into it. So these things happen like once, in a while. Like, you have still about 2.5 years where you can really take advantage of this new thing and grow and find yourself extremely wealthy as a result of it. Or you could wait until, like, I'm gonna wait till things get easier. And then you do that if you want, and then you'll be like everybody else. So for me, I'm always encourage people, I dare to be different. Dare to be different. Dare to be the one that it's okay to be laughed at, right? Because it's not who laughs first, it's who laughs last, right?
Laughs loudest.
Yeah. So I mean, it's you want to make sure that you're the one that can smile at the end and just say, for one, not even for them, just like, what, that you felt like I was right. Like, I took a chance on myself. I took a chance on this knowledge and information, and I was right. And it happens, and people say you were right. And then when people will say, oh man, like, this person was ahead of his time, they were right. And that's a solid reason to make sure you do it, just to even if you prove yourself right.
There's a prevalence of AI companies now on Wall Street that people are investing in. There's just so many of them. It's just going to be interesting to see how many of them end up succeeding, how many of them end up failing and folding. I didn't realize how many there actually were. There's a lot. So people are going hard into AI, and even my guy Schumann with his transfer portal AI, which is starting to take off and work. I mean, you can use it for anything, and it learns on its own, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So this is your rapid fire 2026 predictions.
Ooh.
One industry that you see exploding this year, Laban.
Wow. One industry that's going to explode. I mean, that's a great question. And I don't even know.
You know
what
the answer.
What? How do I know the answer?
We just talked about it.
Well, AI, but I mean, I don't think that's. I mean, I'm trying to think of what industry though. Every industry uses AI, obviously. I mean, I guess I think of like the Uber. Like, what is the next between Uber or Uber? I mean,
what industry that is? That's tech.
Next.
So tech.
Right. But I mean, but that's. I don't look at. I mean, anything that blankets every industry isn't necessarily an industry in and of itself. I think of like food service or, sports management, athletics, different industries like that.
Yeah, that's hospitality, entertainment. That's
college,
and I think that
sports.
And I do worry about and Dave Ramsey again, who I know, Steve, you're going to Google him, but he has said, and I don't disagree, that one of the worst things for young male adults is online gambling. And again,
that is this so it's out of hand, so scary, and I don't think that, especially college students, I don't think they should have never ever. It should never been a thing for it to happen.
Well, and I mean, it's right on your phone. You know what I mean? As far as access, you used to have to either go to a casino. And does anybody remember 20 years ago? I mean, we were at UConn, so Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun were. But now you drive down the highway, there is a casino at almost every exit. I mean, I've got one exit down. And so I think, and again, once it went online, it became so much more accessible and easy. So again, I think that's an emerging industry, sports betting. I mean, it's been around, but they're making it easier and easier. And the concern I have with gambling is that when you start to lose, you especially for former athletes, this is going to turn. This is going to, and if you don't have discipline to walk away, there's already
been scandals already with college kids,
right? I mean,
involved.
Yeah. So I don't know if that, even going back to the question of what industry is going to make a big impact, I don't know, but man, there is some really loose opportunities that aren't built in the fundamentals.
I think gambling, online gambling, that's an industry now. Like that is one.
It's huge right now.
Well, and again, I don't
impact. You ain't say whether it was positive or negative.
Okay.
Right? Well, that is going to have an impact. Maybe. Yeah,
that's an industry. And again, I don't think it's going to change. I guess that's what I mean. Like, I think as the economy, and I'm hoping it gets better, but if it gets worse, then they start to do things like that, trying to find the quick answer. And that was even in real estate. My concern for people, there's investors and speculators. And the speculators make me very nervous because it is a lot like gambling, except with a much larger asset. And so, again, I don't know. That's a good question. What emerging industry? But that's one that I do worry just for people, because I know, yes, you can win some, but overall, historically,
now there's gambling sites where you can literally bet on anything. You can bet if the sun's going to come up tomorrow. You can bet if it's going to rain tomorrow. Like it's crazy how far they're taking.
We have bodegas with the skills games, games of chance. Those aren't going away.
Those are the worst. I see they have those with these people. You setting yourself up for failure from the jump.
Yes.
They're supposedly skill games, if it's a digital, anything that's digital, that's a skill game. It's not a skill game.
No,
it's like
no.
Yeah.
no.
And listen, and if you gamble on sports, which I would never put my dollar on any one of these kids, referees, coaches, whatever, because as we have seen, anything can happen. And again, that Miami game, you watch the first half and you bet the under, you're like, safe as ever. And then the second half, you got to play the full game, you know. I mean, how many people were losing their shirt? It is. It's just something I understand. It makes a game more enjoyable. But, oh, man, think of another way.
I didn't think Indiana was going to cover 8.5 was a lot, but I thought Indiana was going to win.
But it's how close is Vegas always?
They always know. They always know.
It's just – yeah, I'd rather play cards, something I have more control over. Even like the roulette, that ball spinning, nope, no thanks. And then blackjack, you got somebody sitting next to you that calls a hit when they should be standing, and you might as well be able to hit them. Yeah, I just to each his own, but that is a concern for me, for young people. And then going back to the NIL athletes who have never made six figures and might not make six figures again. And now that bank account is trimming out as they graduate, and they're like, well, let's try to ride it out. So
yeah.
Fresh, what about you?
Discipline, self-control.
So I will say, look, first there's a number of them. I just kind of chat GPT'd a few like highest growth sectors. You got healthcare and social assistance, information technology, and AI.
Healthcare has gone up a lot. Yes.
Clean energy and sustainability, fintech, financial services, innovation, biotechnology, life sciences, professional science and technology services. And then I would say, and then you have some supporting industries like e-commerce, cybersecurity, ed tech. So of those things that's kind of mentioned, right? And then one of the last ones I want to mention this because of a couple of different reasons, right? Because of social climate, which people won't look at it. I look at things a little differently. I'm always kind of
I
understanding like the what's behind the curtain, like what is really going on. Like Oz is
yes.
What's behind the curtain. So advanced manufacturing and robotics.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
right.
Yep.
So I would say a lot of the stuff that's up there, I think because of the growth in the first one that's kind of mentioned, information technology and AI, you're going to have a huge uptick also in cybersecurity. We've already had like, I don't know how many, any of you guys Verizon customers? Any of you guys have Verizon? Right. So I'm assuming you both were impacted a couple weeks ago from the whole.
I was not, but maybe I was just busier. I don't know. I heard about it,
but you probably were.
They infiltrated.
I was probably in a rural area where I just thought it was the norm.
Yeah. So, but it was
when there was no service for like 2 days.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was. Well, you had no service for a certain amount of hours throughout the day. Then you had spotty service, and then what happens is you had the pickup of service depending on where you were. Like if you're in a rural area, you're gonna get hit second. Like first they're gonna take care of the inner cities, right? They're gonna take care of those places first, and then they take care of you later. It's like anything else because they know things got to run, and that's just the reality of it, right?
Oh, listen, I don't disagree. Yeah.
So to touch on what we're saying, I would say that the AI information technologies, that's probably going to be the biggest growth one. We just talked about that, right? But I won't belabor that. But I will say cybersecurity is going to be huge.
That's
growth
paramount
because of every time something amazing comes out, somebody wants to exploit it for nefarious reasons and make money off of it. It's just the reality of it that people pay attention to these things. Now, I think that is a big thing, but I will take a minute and just talk about the advanced manufacturing robotics, like smart factories, automation, AI-enabled production technologies, and from it could be something similar as cars, semiconductors, especially with these new chips, right? You got the NVIDIA chips. They got even more powerful chips coming out, like that could do so many things. And I would say what's very kind of scary and telling, which they won't talk about, right, from the advanced manufacturing part, is we may think of from a from a consumer standpoint of how beneficial the robotics and the manufacturing things can be, because we're thinking about cars and stuff, I also think about, unfortunately, militaries and war, like in the military machines and wars and things like that. Like they use you have advancements in the manufacturing of weapons, right? They got, what's old news is that they actually have guns that can shoot around corners. It's just kind of what it is, right? like believe it or not, like that is, and that's old.
Can I get one?
I mean, no, you probably can't get one.
I've never shot a gun in my life. It's okay.
All right. Yeah, but the point is, those things are scary about how something so amazing and beautiful is inevitably going to be used
in the wrong hands
to do damage. And the thing is, in the wrong hands, unfortunately, like the wrong hands, a lot of times what we trust to be the right hands, in many cases, is the wrong hands. Like we trust, people are encouraged to trust governments and trust their things that you do, and then they do certain things that just shouldn't be done, and they create things that shouldn't be done, right? You know, it's like, it's just unfortunate the way technology, and especially the way it's going to be used. So I would say it's going to be advancements, because you're going to have people, what's happening now is setting the stage for what other people are going to do. So what's happening over here in the US, people are reacting like, well, they bullied these people, they did this and did that. I don't want this to happen to me. So what can I do? Right? So, and this was just, it's just a trickle effect. It's just what's going to happen. It's unfortunate. People are you're going to be at fear. Fear is going to cause you to do things that are out of the norm, to be cautious, to want to protect yourself or protect what's yours, because you don't want someone to take it. So now you're going to use technology to give yourself an advantage. And once that happens, when technology is not being used for good and it's being used out of fear, there's a lot of unfortunate things and crazy things and very scary things that happen because of fear. That's just the reality. So I would say those industries, you're going to see the growth, right? And cybersecurity, and unfortunately, the robotics and auto manufacturing is just out crazy, because everything's auto manufactured. Everything, cars.
Well, the other industry that you brought up briefly that I'll touch on that I know somebody specifically is the healthcare, and what I mean by that is how I think people are looking at it differently. Like, I go to a chiropractor every week. He offers now stem cell treatment. Like, he is doing offering so many services. When he's a chiropractor, he started out like that, but because he himself needed some things, some help with stem cell, he went to New York. Like, he is doing really big things, and it's not insurance based. It's just things that people will pay out of pocket because they know it works. Right. And unfortunately, the insurance companies are so far behind or doing the things the way they've always done it, that it is going to open up an opportunity for certain healthcare to get people like myself that are more holistic, that are like, listen, I don't want a script. I want you to take care of me and then tell me what I can do more naturally to recover better and things like that. So I do think healthcare, but I guess when I think of healthcare, you think of hospitals and white coats. I think of healthcare as being more local, with people that you know and trust that might not tell you the same thing WebMD tells you, as far as treatment or how to handle something. And so I do think healthcare, a more natural approach to healthcare, things like chiropractic that used to be frowned upon or poo-pooed, are, I think, being recognized as extremely valuable. And then again, the preservation of life and trying to live as long as we can, as healthy as we can. So I would say that as far as the industry, I just prefer to end on healthcare versus sports gambling.
So one industry that you think will struggle this year?
That's an interesting one.
I mean, I mentioned some. You want me to run through the list again so you can see any thoughts from there, or you got some on top of the head?
I was going to ask Laban first.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. Like if you guys have,
I mean, and again, industries I think of like food service. Because I looked at opening a pizza shop. There's a
Very
pizza
expensive.
shop out my brother's, and the price they were asking for the pizza shop, I was like, wow, you got to turn a lot of pizzas.
Yeah.
And then there's a pizza shop out a little further west by my brother, and they were asking $400,000 for the building and the recipe and everything. But $400,000 is a lot of
Would
money
you
for a
own the
pizza shop.
building?
You would in this case, but
Not for the real
okay.
estate. That's nah. A majority
Well,
of
and
that property
again-
is the real estate.
Of course it is, and I think that's for most business owners. Their equity is in the building, because if you don't own the
Right.
building, you have your operations. But
It's a
how
waste.
you're not building any equity when you're leasing a building, you're just working off operations. So, I don't know. And I hope the food industry doesn't struggle. I'm just saying, when I look at that, and I know it's one of the most difficult industries to be in, to start a restaurant, to open a restaurant, keep a restaurant going. And in Erie, people like new, fresh things. Like, you could literally shut down your well-run restaurant 2 years after opening, change the name with the same menu, and it would kill for another 8 to 12 months, and then people get tired of it. Erie is very much a test market, if you will. Basically, if it'll sell in Erie, it'll sell anywhere, because our people are frugal and pretty picky on the things they spend money on. And again, I've already seen it, because with financial struggles running a business, you have to be willing to make some personal sacrifices. And again, if you get in, bite off something bigger than you can chew, it can come back and bite you even bigger. So I hope it's not food industry, but I know that's always been an industry that struggles. And I brought up, like, it does get frustrating as a consumer to ask for a tip on everything, from a smoothie to a sandwich.
Yeah.
It's like
Tips? I didn't know you're supposed to leave tips.
Yeah.
Fresh.
I would say, right, again, I'm gonna run through a few again and then just go which one I'm gonna tell. You got traditional manufacturing, retail trade, coal mining, motor vehicle part manufacturing, apparel manufacturing, and tobacco, agriculture, and commodity farming segments. So
that's Connecticut.
Office, lodging, retail, construction, media, entertainment, gas and oil, wholesale trade, and what is this? State projections. So I would say, of those, the one I'm more passionate about, that I think is the agriculture and commodity farming. I think farmers are right now. You got so many farmers right now going under and bankrupt because of the stripping away of certain subsidies, because of what's been happening with what's going on, certain government policies and stuff like that, certain things being pulled back. So farming, especially if it's done here, right? We want to buy local. We want to buy things that are produced locally and doesn't have pesticides and things like that.
Milk, bro, is the farmer. That's why I drink it.
So again, there's nothing wrong with that. Exactly. But here's the thing. But if you're a farmer, if you're fresh, that where the milk is being produced and all of the things that a farm provides, if they can't live, if they don't have subsidies to maintain, it's going down. So it's already happening, right? The farming industry is already down. You can look at the numbers. It's already down, and they're suffering, and they're going out of business. And a lot of them are similar to some of these other industries. You look at the farmers. It's not a ton of young farmers, right? You got some of these older people that are like at or past retirement age. I don't even say near, like at or past retirement age, and they need help, and they're not getting it. So we're going to see a big trend there, and that's why you see a lot of our stuff. Unfortunately, things come from overseas. Like, when you look at places where our produce and things should be, it's coming from overseas, unfortunately, because we're not doing. We let an industry that we did extremely well at from farming, just like how we did with steel. We let it slip away because of a few greedy people.
Well, and I mean, especially farming, at least in this area, I'm in Western Pennsylvania where farming is still very prevalent. And I think specifically, we joke around about milk, but it was during the pandemic that the former owner of the milk that I buy, which is Pot of Gold Dairy, sold to a younger couple. But what's interesting is, much like we're talking about with ancillaries, they bought the milk. They had to bring in, more cattle. There's Jersey is a little sweeter milk. And so they as opposed to Holsteins, so they're, as far as the cows, but then what they bought from the former company that the former company never used is ice cream making machines. So now not only are they producing milk, they're also making ice cream, and they're making flavored milk. And not only that, more importantly for this company, is that they're now distributing in at least 20 more stores than when I was buying it from the former owner. I get it from the same place, Duran's Farm Market, a local shop on Route 97. But when I go to different stores, not your typical grocery stores, but in like local markets, you can now find this milk almost everywhere. So as far as the brand of milk and Pot of Gold Dairy, what the new younger owners did, they're still farming, but they implemented some of these new ancillary businesses. Like they make yogurt now, they make ice cream along with their line of milk. So it's like any other industry or business. Understand your core and then feed off of that ancillary opportunity, and see what works. You know what I mean? So I'd actually be really curious to look at their books from when they bought it to what they're doing now with implementing it. So find local farmers. Same thing with beef. I mean, you can buy half a cattle and not have to go to the butcher. You can get a butcher's opinion if you're well, we won't go to Tommy Boy.
That's a good reference. All right, last one. Laban, one investment that you'd avoid this year.
Wow. One investment I'd avoid? Golly.
Yeah.
Well, I would say a pizza shop. No, I think that's where you're gonna find. What happens though is similar to that ski resort, right? Like over time, I think the guy that bought it from Ohio paid too much, ran it into the ground. But what happened is there's a local family from Erie that ended up buying it a few years back. They own a number of restaurants locally. And so now they have tied in packages where you can stay at the Peak and Peak and, have a dinner on them at one of their restaurants in Erie. And so, again, I think when you look at industries and that cycle, find industries that are struggling and maybe not even struggling. Maybe they're successful, but have older owners that will show you the way if you just take and run with it. And so I guess I would probably avoid the food industry. If you're thinking about opening up a shop or something like that, I do think it's probably more challenging now than ever, especially if you don't know your costs, because I know those have gone up between, food, all that sort of stuff. So I would probably avoid, as much as I want to bring Augie's Pizza back, probably avoid opening a restaurant or something like that, and I could be way off base. That might be the place.
No, you're right. My one of my co-hosts owns a pizzeria, and it's very challenging for him to run because paying people, the minimum wage has gone up, and he has to pay exponentially more to get good employees. The cost of cheese, chicken wings, all that stuff has gone up. So
a large piece is $18 to $20 anywhere. Anywhere.
Yeah, it's
not
crazy.
Domino's.
Not a Domino's, not a Little Caesars either. You're right.
You get what you pay for, bro. You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
That's like when Campoli and Fish, when I talk about Olive Garden, and they're like, bro, that is not an Italian restaurant.
It's not
Stop
Italian
it right
food,
now.
no.
It's still Campoli's favorite chain.
Yeah.
So
Breadsticks
fresh
and soup. I would say
same thing with you.
I would say so. This might be a little. Well, it's not gonna be. I mean, it might be controversial to some people, but it's a fact. The U.S. dollar is down.
It is very much
and
so.
Unfortunately, it's going down more. So I would not invest in right now, like kind of U.S. backed securities and dollars. I would not put my money there. Traditionally, that would have been a safe place to kind of put your money. But you're seeing a lot of people, because you got to pay attention to what's going on around the world. The dollar is weak. You have a lot of companies. Weak. You have a lot of countries that, unfortunately, we are pissing off, and
we're giving away.
Yeah, we're pissing off because of things that are being done, and it impacts your relationships, the dollar. Because when you start to have more and more countries that are saying, you know what, we're moving away from the dollar, we're going to go to the gold standard, and we're doing these things.
Who's going to the gold standard?
Countries with gold, which we don't have.
So I realize that we came off the gold standard in like 76,
yes,
bro.
But that's so.
Which is why we're trying to annex Greenland.
We could go into a whole bunch of stuff, and it go by. People talk about that's why Gaddafi was murdered, because he was uniting countries, African countries that have plenty of resources and gold, and wanted to get them on their own currency. Just like how we have the U.S. dollar, that we're trying to unite it like that. So, but I won't even go into that. What I will say is that the reality of it is that the dollar is very weak. U.S. backed securities and things like that, it's very risky to go into that right now. So for me, I would it's very weak. It's because of what's happening in the world. And normally we have a lot more free trade, and people that we had agreements with and free trade with, we pissing them off for no reason. So
I mean, that it's not no reason. They've been blasting us with tariffs for years, though.
Say what now?
Yeah, I say other countries have been crushing us with their tariffs for years. So
that's
even
false.
a lot of
that is false. That is false. You look it up. That's been debunked, and it has nothing to do with the tariffs.
Debunked.
What
has nothing to do with the tariffs?
This is public information. So we have been sold a bill of goods that the tariffs that we are doing, what people have been doing, what other countries have been doing to us, that's false. That is not what's happening. Because also what's happening is the tariffs are being pushed back on us. We're paying for it. So you can say whatever.
Any tax works. The consumer absorbs it.
So tariffs are different.
What?
Understand, we went to war over tea. Right? We had a whole.
Is that like the Boston Tea Party?
Yes. So we like,
good.
What are you doing? Like you put us in a position where you're creating these things that don't. What it is that things are happening that shouldn't. So just to keep it with the question, I would avoid that right now. Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be a long-lasting impact, unfortunately, because of what's happening. And if you really follow what's happening, this is unprecedented. If you look at all administrations throughout history, which president has made the most money, right? And you could just take one. You could take one president financially. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to have. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to be able to gain.
Well, I mean, you could say the same about the Congress people and senators. They all come out wealthy too.
So yes, these things are not supposed to happen. But we're talking about just looking at not supposed to happen. But if you just look at the history, I think the focus is we're being like distracted by what's really happening. So you have a lot of people, farmers. You have a lot of like down home, heart of America type people that are struggling and suffering. But you have the people that are at the top, and that really that the billionaires are like becoming more and more multi over billionaires. And no point in history has the president become a billionaire in less than 12 months as the president. Unprecedented throughout history. Never
Wasn't
happened.
he already a billionaire? Oh,
no,
I thought he was already a billionaire.
He was no. So that's another thing that was reported. Did he have billions? you gotta look it up. Like it's a whole like thing, but that has nothing to really do with it. What he does with it. My thing is that the people that make this country run, you turn your backs on them. The military, you turn your back on them, and you use them for your own gain is wrong. And I don't think it's a good idea to invest your money in something that right now is leaning more towards implosion than it is to growth. Right? Yeah. In terms of that's the US dollar and US dollar backed security type things. That's just my opinion where I would not put my money right now.
Yeah. No, I mean it's been a very eventful month of January. Let's put it that way. And you're absolutely right. And there's a lot that has gone on that is controversial, that is not bringing us together. It's pulling us further apart. And I hope that something happens. Someone takes a stand and can find a way to put us all back together, because the further that we grow apart, the worse that things are going to be as a country. And, as we're dealing with other countries, we're going to annex Greenland, and we're taking over Venezuela. We're doing all that great stuff. So it's wonderful. But thank you guys both for your expert insights and analysis on business and investing. I appreciate it. And great show, great audience, building a phenomenal audience. I'm surprised every week, just continue to grow and grow. So you're both doing a great job. Yeah, great job. We are going to have a guest on next week. Another real estate agent asked to come on, Laban. So she's nice. Probably going to want to pick your mind, just so you know. She is looking into sponsorship, so I said she could come on and see what it's like.
Where is she from?
I believe she is from Florida.
Oh, okay.
I got to double check.
Another market. I'd be curious to learn more about Florida's market and what they're going through right now.
Well, the other guy, I got to get Sam back on.
So you got Sam markets in Florida, depending on what part, Central, South Florida.
Yeah. I'll double.
All moving different.
I'll double check with her. But yeah, I got to get Sam back on too. And Newsy was great. But thank you guys. Laban Marsh, King of Real Estate, Erie, Pennsylvania, Marsh Real Estate. Nedvonne Young, entrepreneur extraordinaire, owner of FreshFold Laundry Co, high-end laundry service, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And the website is
my-freshfold.com.
my-freshfold.com.
We'll get it one of these days.
No, I'm going to record the video after this, so it's fresh in my mind. But thank you guys both. Great show. And just remember, life gives you lemons. Don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges. Throw them right back at life.